All right, let's continue from where we stopped last time. So we started with this our rating app, and I'm coming. Let me get the design. All right, so this is the design that we need to work on today because we already work on the back side because that one is not having much of things to do. So that's the reason why we work on the back side first. But now if I click on back, it's just showing this rating text. But what we need to have there is this entire stuff that we have here. And how do I am going to approach this? How are we going to approach this stuff? So here I'm going to create a component for this icon here. So to showcase that you can actually split different items that you have in your UI into their own different component there. So this one is just normal heading there like that. This is a paragraph. Again, to here, I'm going to split this one into component because this one, what I'm doing here is what I'll be doing here, and it's what I'll be doing here again and again. So, and I don't want to repeat myself. So we have way of handling this in React, which is by using what we call list rendering. So in React, we have something referred to as lists. So list rendering like this. So we have a list rendering, which is a way of you rendering a list of items. Because if you look at this thing now, it's like a list where you start from 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on like that. So we have the way of rendering this thing by talking to the other. Okay, as long we still have something inside this array, keep printing out this or keep rendering these particular items to the screen. And I'm going to show you that it's not just for this place alone. Anywhere you're dealing with a UI and you see that your UI is the same thing and it's just repeating the stuff. The difference between them is just the content that is inside it. So you can create an array of all those items. You now look through each one of them and you render it out. And that's what we call list rendering. I'm going to show you this in action there like that. So we're going to have this one here. So we're going to have this box, the text, this one, and this button like that. This button too is going to be a component on its own there, but all these things I can put them inside this particular component or create their own separate component. But I think let's create their own separate component so that it will be as if we are working on the real word example there like that. So let me close all this one that we don't need right now. Okay, so what do we, this one too, we don't need it again because we've already worked on that result. So the one we want to work on now is the rating. And if I control and click on it, VS Code is going to open the file for us so that we can start working inside the stuff. And what do we want to work on again? This is what we want to do here. So no, don't forget your layout is very important. So if I want to lay out everything now, no, we're going to add the container. So the container will be the one that is going to wrap everything. And inside the container, we need to render this component here because we said we're going to be using component for this. Apart from this one, we need to render our H1. Again, we need to render our P tag. Here too, we now have another container on its own. This is a container because we don't want all this one to be stacked on top of each other. We want them to be side by side. So we need to put them in a container. And again too, you have this button here. But inside this box, we are going to render all these items there. So 1, 2, 3, and so forth like that. So that's what we are going to do. So the container is what we already created, this wrapper here. But inside the wrapper, we're going to have this. We have this, and we have this container that has all these 1, 2, 3, and so forth like that. So let's start with the items. So the first thing we need to do is to create this our star here. We need to create the component for this style. It's not a must that we do it, but I just want, or don't let me waste time on that. So we're not going to use component for that because we don't want to spend much time on this thing. So here, what I will just do here is to create a div. This div is going to have the class name, which is going to be styles dot star wrapper like this. So don't forget, it's not only star that is here. There is actually the background that is under that star. If you look at the star, there is a circle stuff going on there. So that's why I'm calling it this star wrapper. But inside it, we're now going to have our image. So that image is the one that will now show the star. So where is the star coming from? We've already copied all these assets. So we have it inside the asset, which is this icon star. So we just need to locate it like that. So import icon star like this. So this is what I'm calling it. Then from where, so go back, because currently we are inside this rating, but the what we are looking for is inside this source here. So we need to leave rating, leave this one so that we can enter here. So I need to do it again. Then from there I will have access to assets, and from here I will have access to icon star. So if I copy this one, this is a JavaScript code, so we need to open our curly brace like that, and if I save it, you see that the star is going to come outside, but that background is not there, so we'll be the one that will create that one. That's why we have the star wrapper. So the star section is done. So which other one do we have now? We need this our h1, and we need this our paragraph. So move down, we have the h1, which is which I'm going to give class to because I want to style everything. So this is going to be style dot adding text like this. So I always love to use a descriptive name for all my items. So anytime you are coming back there later on, from the name you already know what is going on. If I want, I can just call this one icon. But what's the icon all about? But through this name now, you already know the type of the icon that is going to be there even before you check the screen like that. So what do we need to put here? So the text there is going to be how do we locate, or how do we whatever stuff that is here. So just copy the text from the HTML here, so paste, and at the same time I'm going to copy this p tag that's there. So here I will have the p with the class. So it's going to have the class, and what's the name of the class, which is going to be styles, then dot paragraph like this. So or I can just call it subtext like that, so that it's more descriptive. So here we have this text, and if I save it on the screen, we should have all this content that we're going to start, because we've not really started them right now, so they are just using the default stuff that is there like that. So after this one now, we need to have the group. But this group here, I want to put it in its own component. So everything here, they are going to be in their own component, which I'm going to call the rate. We call this one rating here. So which what I will call that one is going to be rating number. So inside this rating component here, inside this rating folder, I'm going to create another component there, and this one is going to be the rating number dot jxs like this. So that I can reuse these CSS modules. And again, all of them are talking about rating, so there's no need of me creating a separate folder. Anything related to rating will be inside this folder. Anything related to button will be inside the folder like that. So let's create this one. And what do we need to do? So use my arrayce, which is a snippets, to create our component like that. So this line one, I don't really need it. Is olden days that you need that to include React like this. In the new application, right from React 16, you don't need to do something like that. So I think it's around that 16 or 17. Currently we are using 18, so we don't need to do that. This thing will work like that. So what do we need to do now? We need to render this rating number here. So we need to render the rating number. You can see now there is nothing concerning this component about how this thing is going to be doing all the magic. This component will be the one that will handle the UI, and it's still the one that will handle the logic that is related to this rating number, because there's some logic related to this, as you can see here. So you have to be clicking on all this thing, as you are clicking, it will be updating the state that is here. Don't forget the rating is 0 by default. So if you click on 1, it will update this state to 1. If you click on 2, it will update this state to 2. And as you can see, we've already sent the set rating into it. So this set rating that we set here too, which one is going to be receiving it? So this one is going to receive it like that. So we can actually receive a set rating, and this set rating too, we need to send it down to this because this is what needs it. This rating number is the one that needs this functionality. But you can't just send it directly from this app into this rating number. You can see that. Do you see anything like rating number here? No, app doesn't know anything about rating number. So since it doesn't know about it, you can't just send that this set rating into it right now. You can actually do it later on by using other methods of passing information around to your component. But right now we are dealing with the basic one, which is by using props. And any props you want to send down to any component, where you are sending it from, that component must be aware of that particular component that you want to send. So it knows about rating. That's the reason why we're able to send this one down. But there's no way to be able to send it down to this one since we are not using it here. So the only one that have access to rating number is this component rating. So that means this one needs to receive it, and once you receive it, it will now send it down into this rating number like that. So, and what we are doing here is what we call props drilling, which is a bad practice when you are working with a lot of components that are inside each other, and you need to send out props that they don't need. Because if you look at it now, rating will not be using this thing. What is going to be using it is this rating number. But yeah, it needs to pass through rating before you get to rating number. That's what we call prop drilling. So when you need to pass a props into another component before it gets to the main component that needs it, but the intermediary one that you are using it to pass the information doesn't even use it at all, we call it props drilling. And it's something that is bad practice when you have a lot of components that you need to send that props all down until you get to the original source there like that. But we are going to see how to solve this problem later on by using the state management there. But for now, we are going to be using this method by calling this in, receive it, send it down to this one that actually needs it like that. Again, too, it needs rating. So again, too, it needs so again, too, it needs rating. So we need to receive the rating from here. So we need to receive rating because it needs to know which number it's active. If it is one that you click on, you need to change the color of that one. So you need to know which one is active. Then based on the one that is active, it will apply some CSS there, which we're going to be using to apply our conditional rendering there like that. So, and if I save it, nothing will happen yet because we don't have anything. What we just have is this rating number. But before we get there, let's do the styling for this container here. So I'm going to bring the styling out here. So bring the styling. Then here, what do we want to select? So the wrapper first. So we need to select the wrapper like this. And what is the wrapper? I've already mentioned this before. It's something that is wrapping everything. So it's the one that will apply all these equal space that is in between them. So what do we need to do? Because right now I see everything is just jam-packed together. So we need to display it as flex. Flex direction should be column like this. So the gap should be around that 1.5 rem. So which is going to be the spacing in between each one of them. So the star, the H1, the text, and all this one here. So the next one we have there is this. What's that? Let me copy the star wrapper. So we need to start that one. And what is going on with it? That this thing is having a particular background going on there, and it's kind of a round. So what do we need to do? Let me just use background color of red first, so that you see what is going on. So the height, let's give it no, I don't even need, because I want it to be round. So, and if you want something to be round, as you can see, you need to give it definite height and width. Because here now, if I use border radius of 50%, it will not work the way I'm expecting it to work. In order for it to work, we need to make sure that it's in a box like that. And what do we need to do? I can just create the height of maybe, let's see, 90 pixels. Then the width too should be 90 pixels. That's what is going to give you a perfect circle like that. And as you can see, this thing is too big. So let me try 40 like this. And I think it's okay. So we need to move that star to the center of it. So how do we do it? Just display it as flex, align center, and justify center. But that's a waste of time. We can actually use display of grid, and this one we just say place item center, and it will do the magic for us for the align and justify together. I think this let me try 30 or 32 self if it's not that much. Yeah, so let me try 32, that which is going to be 2 rem like that. So if I save it, which is okay, but the background is not red, so we need to change it. Let me go into our index. to our index, because that's where we define all our variables. So if we go back to our index, let me look for that variable that we need to call. And I think it's going to be, where is it? We have these two. Let me use this one. So let me use this one and see first, like that. So which is going to be var. So paste this thing into it, and it's over. The black is too much, like this. So let me use this one, which is going to be dark blue. So let me just remove the very, and it's going to be dark blue. So but it's having a box chart. You see, it look like the scene is not showing again. And why is it not showing? Is because that stuff, the color are kind of close to each other. So we need to give it a shadow so that it will look like what is there. So what is going on is the thing is actually sitting down on top of that stuff, like that, which you see that we are using the actual color, but we just need to apply some shadow at the back of it so that we can actually see that there is a circle there, like that. So what do we need to do? We need to use box shadow here, so which is going to be 0 0, because I don't want it to, let me move it down a little bit by 2 pixels. Then the radius is going to be 5 pixels. The color should be red so that you can see what is going on. As you can see, but the color will never be that red, so it's going to be RGB here, just a subtle black that will be there. So around that 0.5, like this. So it's going to be there like this, but I think it's coming down more than what I want. So let it just be like this. And again, too, I want to blow it small. Let me use around that 8 pixels like this. And again, let me reduce this thing because I don't want it to come outside so much like that. And as you can see, we have these items, the style, like that. Something can separate it to its own component if you are using it in different places. But since I'm not using it in other places and there is no much of logic on it, so that's why I'm adding it here directly. But this one now, there's a lot of things that will go along with it there. So that's why I'm separating it into its own component so that it will be the one that will handle the rendering and along with the logic of the element or the UI that we have there. So now we can enter our this rendering there. And I want to do something here. So I want to, no, we need to receive the rating. So the rating, and we need to receive set rating. So which is what we'll be using later on. So here I'm going to create a function update rating. So this one is going to update the rating. And what is it going to do? Set rating with the so here you need to receive the number that you want, and inside this place I'm just going to pass the number. So whatever number you pass to this function is going to update the rating like that. I'm going to see this in again. So what do we need? We need to create a state. So const rating list, because I want to show you how to render a list. That's why I'm using this method. I don't even need to do this one, but because I want to show you how to render a list. So rating list. So here is going to be array. Array of what? It's also to be array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I know they are not 6. It's just 5 items like this. So how do we render all this thing out? You know, we already have the rating array of items. So what we want to do here is that for each one of the item, we want to render something on the screen. So array, you know, don't forget array. This actually knows how to render array. So if I just say rating, if I just use this rating list like this, by the time you get to the screen, you see that it will jam back everything together. But this is not what we want. So what we want to do is that we want to convert all this number to elements. So all those elements, we send it to React. Don't forget, anytime React see anything inside array, it will just send everything together and jam pack them like this. So again, instead of you now doing something like this, you can actually put all your elements together inside the array. For example, here now, I will create an array of p tags. So here I have p. For the first one, this is going to be, can you see this is 1. So this is what we want to do. This is the first one. Again, we are going to have the p like this. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth like that, depending on the number of p. So all this thing now, React is now going to combine everything. You know, there is comma there. It will just remove that comma, combine everything together as is normal text. It will now send it to the screen like this. But look at what we want to do. We need to generate the p tag, or the button tag rather, because it's button we are going to be using since it's something that is clickable. So when we get to 1, generate a button, then put that one inside the value. When we get to this second item, generate another button, put 2 inside it. When we get to the third one, generate another button, put, and so forth like that, depending on the number of items that you have inside it like that. So how do you do this thing in React? So how do you do this thing? We can use some of the methods of array that we talk about, which is the map. No, map allows you to take a value, then transform it to another value. If you still remember when we are talking about all the goodies that array is giving us there, so I have all of them here that I've already explained in one of our JS class like that. Where did I even put it? I think I have it somewhere inside this. So is it this one? Let me check this. So we talked about all these items when we are dealing with array there like that. Where did I put it? I put it somewhere in one of the files. Yeah. Where are you? Array. Where did I put it? Don't let me waste time on this thing. So we talked about this map. And what is the job of map here? So anytime you are dealing with map from array, it allows you to take value from array and map it to another set of whatever items that you want. So for example, here I have const scores like this, and this course is having 1 3 5, but this one I want to map it to the square root, or I want to map it to the square of all this number. So I want to generate another array but based on this array here. So I want to generate the square for 1, square for 3, and square for 5. So how do we do that on the array? So what you can do is that start getting each one of them one by one. So you just do this scores at 0 like this, then multiply by scores at 0 like this, and you can see it's giving us 1 because that's the square of it. So, but now if I put 1 and if I put 1, you see that we are getting 9. But I don't want to be doing it one by one. Based on all the items that is inside it, do it for all of them for me, and return a new set of array based on the results. So we can now use map for that. So here we can use score, then map. So what is map? A map is a higher order function. And what do we call higher order function? Higher order function are functions that receive function as their own parameter. So this map now is expecting something from you. As you can see, it's expecting callback. Callback is the function that you want it to run anytime it's moving over each one of these items. And whatever you are returning from that function is what is going to return as a new set of value for each one of the items here. So here, I can send a function to it, and from there, what do I need to do? What do I need to do there like that? I just need to return 3. Can you see now? So for every item that is inside score, whatever stuff you are returning from your map, that's what it's going to map them to. So it's mapping 1 to 3, it's mapping 3 to 3, it's mapping 5 to 5. But this is not what I want. I want to map it to the square of the number. So how do you get the actual number that this thing is holding? So this function you are passing to it, we actually receive each one of the values. So it will give you the value, the current value is looping through at that particular time. Again, it will give you the index, and at the same time, it will give you the entire array if you need it. But what we just need right now is just the value like that. So which means here now, instead of me returning these 3, I will just map it to value times value like that. And as you can see, from this number, we're able to map them to their square. So square of 1 is 1, square of 3 is 9, square of 5, and it's going to do it for each one of the items. So map allows you to take values like all the values of array and map it to another set of value based on whatever you are returning from the callback that you pass into map. So we can do the same thing here too. We have all this number, we can now map it to elements, which is going to be 14 elements. So how do we do it? So here now, what we can just do is to just call this our rating list, then dot map. Don't forget, we need to send a function down to it. So and that function will be giving us each one of the value at a time. So which I'm going to call the R like this. So this function that inside it, we need to return whatever we want to map all this into. So what do you want to map it to? We want to map it to button like this. So when inside it, what are you showing? I'm showing R like this. So generate button. I want to generate the button. So for the first one, R will be 1. For the second time, R will be 2, and it will be creating, but don't forget, oh, it's not replacing what you have here. It's returning a new set of array. And don't forget, Java, the React actually knows how to undo array. So once everything is back, this one will be seeing array. And once we see array there like that on the screen, what we just get is just our button. So from this value now, we map it to another set of values. But what are the value? We are mapping it to button where it's receiving these items here like that. But it's complaining right now because anytime you are working with a list, it's always good that you supply this attribute or this props here, which is known as key. So key is what is going to use to differentiate one element from the other element, because no, they are button and it's sending them at once. So how is it going to know that this one is different from this one? So it's always good that you supply the key, which I'm just going to call the add like that. So you can just use anything for the key, but it should be something that is different, something that is not the same thing for the value like that. So if I save it now, we are going to have all our button like that. But we need to give this in class so that it looks like the normal way like that. So yeah, I'm going to do something like that. So look at what I'm doing here with the class, because I want to apply multiple classes here like that. So let me expand this in, and let me make this thing go to next line or wrap to next line, because I don't want to be moving left and right. So what do you want to do here? So let me even do the basic one first. So what we want to do here is the styles. So where is the styles coming from? So we need to import our styles. Don't forget, we want to use that same style that we have. So import styles, then from where? It's coming from this same, and what do we call it? Styles dot module dot css like this. So, and inside this we want to give it slide but rating btn. So I will call it this rating btn, and if I save it here, nothing will happen like that. Why nothing will happen? Because we've not really do any styling on this rating button. But what is going to happen to rating button? So if you look at it, all our rating button needs to be like this by default. This is what is going to be there. So we can go into that our module css like that. So we can now apply the stuff. So here too, we need to give it a definite height and width so that it can be around this thing. So I'm going to give it a height of 32 rem, which is 32 pixels like this. So the width too should be 2 rem. The background should be this dark blue dark blue like this. So save. As you can see now, everything is, so the color should be white, I think. Is it that white? Let me check. Yeah, it's not white. So let me close all this one, close this one. So where's our index again? Our index css. So I think it's this one here. So let me use this light gray as the color there like that. So the color is going to be light gray. So save it. Yes. So if you look at it, it's looking like there's one black nonsense stuff there. That's a border. We don't need it. So border should be none like this. So don't forget, they are going to be in their own parent. Right now I don't care about the spacing. The parent will do that one. So here we need to use our border radius of what is that? Oh yeah, come outside 50% like this, and it's going to turn into circle like that. So what do we need to do again? We need to move all the content to center. Right now you look at the center, but I always want to do this thing. So display of grid, then place items center, at the same time to text align center, and making sure that in case something change later on, there will always be at the center both the text and the content that is there like that. And as you can see, it's now moving them because now they are grid, so it's seeing them in a separate way. But once I talk to the parent, it will put them back on the line there like that. So what do we need to do? So what do we need to do? 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 So the next thing we need to do here is to make sure that this thing is, can you see, it's not sure that it is something that is clickable. So we need to use our cursor of a pointer there like that. So if I go back there, you see now it's showing that And again, if you look at the design that is given to us, anytime you hover on the button, there's a style that is there. I think it's white color. Yeah, no, it's not white color. It is orange. So anytime you move on top of it, the color, the background will be orange, while the text is going to be white. So we need to do that one. So what do we need to do? We need to move our rating button anytime it is over like this. So what we want to do, the background is going to be uh, orange like this. Then the color is going to be why are you not closing? So the color is going to be white like this. So saved. So now if I go there, as you can see, it's going to, but it's too fast. So we can transition the stuff. So transition background like this. So it's going to take another 0.5 seconds linear, or let me just leave it the ease in. So like this. So it's all going to, as you can see, it will be taking 0.5 seconds before it change the background, which add this kind of effects into the stuff like that. So now we need to talk about the parent. So the, let me call it the rating box. So the rating box is going to be displayed as grid like this. And now you know that per line we just have 5 items. So grid templates, columns here. So repeat 5 1FR like that. So saved, but nothing will happen because we've not really give this stuff. So we not really give it that class. So we can call to this div, then give it this class. Then what is the name of the class? So it's going to be styles. So it's going to be styles, then dot rating box. And if I save it now, as you can see, it's going to take them like this. But this thing is too kind of too wide. I think because of our box, it's kind of wide. So let me increase all this box. So instead of 2 rem, let it be 2.5 so that it will increase that circle, or let's say 2.75. That's for the 4.75 like this. Increase it more so that we have all these items. But right now, if I click on 4, it's not doing anything. It's not changing the rating. So we need to make sure that it's actually changing the rating. So how do you know that this thing is actually changing? Let's go into the app and let us display our rating somewhere so that we know that this thing is actually changing. So at the top here, I'm just going to show my rating so that we know that as we are clicking on this thing, it's updating the rating. Can you see that it is 0? And if I click on these 3, it did not change. Click on 5, it did not change. Why is it not changing? It's because we've not really used this our function that we created here. So we need to attach click on this thing. So anytime this thing is click, so on click like this, so we need to pass what? We need to pass this update rating. So what do we need to do? We need to use this update rating, and inside it we'll pass the number that we want it to update to, which is R. Don't forget, R is just representing the number that is coming from here. So now if I save it and go back to the page now, if I click on 3, can you see it will update 5 1 3 2 4. So whatever number you click, it will remove the previous one and change it to the new one. But here too is not working according to the design, because the design is telling us that any one of them that is active, this is the background, it's going to be this light background, not this one. Because now this thing is not really showing you that we actually click on 2. It's 2 that is currently there, but this star here is supposed to show that it is the 2 that is active as our rating, so that the user actually know that this is what they pick. Maybe you click on something and you look away, and you come back in there. How do you know which one that you clicked before? So we need to kind of have like a visual representation of what is going on there. So how do we do that? What we just need to do is to apply style based on the active rating. Don't forget we are receiving a rating. So based on the active rating, we need to conditionally apply some style here. So I want to add another style here. If and only if the rating is the same thing as what is inside R. No, it to be R is each number that we are displaying on the screen. So we need to check the value inside rating. If it is matching the R, it means that's the current button that is active. Then we need to apply some style there. And which style do you want to apply? So I want to let me come down here. So what I will just do is this rating btn active. So I want to apply this class when any one of them that is active, use this class along with this one here. So any one of them that is active, you use this and you still use this class. But how are we going to add this class? Only if that button is active. So we're going to come back there, but let me apply the style first, which is going to be, let me check the CSS, the color we have to use, and I think it's going to be this one. It should be light gray. It should be light gray. So the background should be light gray. So the background color should be light gray like this, but it will not work. Why is it not working? It's because we've not applied this class. So we need to conditionally apply this class here based on what is going on here. So we need to check if the rating is matching this R. Any one of them that matches the R, use the class. The one that is not matching, don't use the class. So here now, we need to add another star here. So how do you add another star here? So what you need to do is to firstly convert this into a string, the backtick string, because I want to use JavaScript stuff here. So, and this one I be doing it will not work again, as you can see, because you cannot, this is saying it as string, it's not saying it as JavaScript. So when you want to turn this into JavaScript, what do we need to do? We need to use this, our template. Yeah, so this one is what you can use for template here. So if I save it, it's going to come back. But what I want to do next, what I want to do is to apply another one here. And what I want to do is to check if rating is the same thing as R. If the rating is the same thing as R, I want to use my styles dot this particular one here. But if it is not, just output empty stuff here. Let me reduce this in so that you can see it on one line. This is what I'm doing here. Look at it. Or let me increase it more and expand this window a little bit. So what are we doing here? What we are doing here is that we want to apply a class. Like this one is generic. This class here, this first one that we're applying here is generic. It will always be there, whether the button is active or is not active, because that is generic style for all of them. But I want to apply this second class if and only if this particular rating is equals to R. Now the rating here is a number, and that number here, we want to compare it against all this our rating list here. Don't forget we are rendering the list and it's giving us each of the value at a time. So as it's rendering this button, I'm checking if rating is the same thing as that R. If it's the same thing, just apply this style. But if it's not the same thing, then just use this empty string. So which means it will not output any style again apart from what we have here. And if I save it now, you see that the one that is active will now have that style, because it will add a class on this one, but it will not add a class on the other one, because we are adding it, we are using condition, not that it's going to just apply it. The only time it will apply it is when the rating is the same thing as R here, which is something I can actually extract out. So instead of me putting it out here, that's the benefit of like this will give you a lot of goodies that you can use. So instead of me applying it here, I can actually move it out by just saying this const active style should just be this. So this one will either return this or this one. So where do we want to, so that it can look nice here, like that. So look at it. So the only time this one is going to be this is when this rating is the same thing as R. But there's a problem now. As you can see that what is it doing now? It's telling me that it doesn't know where R is coming from now, because you know the R is only available inside this place. R is only available here. So what can we do? So I can just move it down into where the R is available, because this is where the R is available. I don't want to do too much of coding like that since I'm dealing with the basic stuff. So what's going on here? So I'm creating this active style based on whether rating is the same thing as R. If this thing is true, run whatever that is here. Then if it is not true, then do another. So run whatever that is here. If it is true, then if it's not true, then that means our active style is just going to be this empty line. So and as you can see, we need to combine two styles together here. And in order for you to combine two styles together, you need to use this backtick, because backtick allows you to create a string that still allows you to put JavaScript code inside it. So because we don't want this thing to jam pack together, because if I close the space now, it will not work again, because it will be seeing it. Can you see that that active one is not working, because it's now jam packing the two classes together. But now we need that space, and since in order for you to be able to put space, you need to use backtick to create the string. You can't use the quote one, because if you use the quote one, there's a lot of things you have to type, but backtick is what you always use. And if I save it now, as you can see, it's going to show the one that if I click on 4 now, it will leave. Don't forget it will re-render. Once anything change in the application, it will re-render. And once it re-render there, it will see that it's not true that it's active again, it's now 4. So it will just change. But because the thing is fast, you don't even see that it's actually what it's doing is that it's clearing everything and it's putting another one back. Whatever that you are seeing here, if I click on 3, it will wipe everything off and it will bring another set back. But because the thing is really fast, that your eyes cannot pick up that it's actually removing all these items. It's removing them before adding a new one there. But React knows how it's doing all this magic behind the scene. And that's why we're using React, that we don't want to be doing all this unnecessary work by ourselves like that. So we have 4, it will go to the 4, and I can see that this styling is not, the color here is not doing justice to, let me use this dark blue as the, but this is supposed to be close to white. So let me check the design. Okay, it's white. The color should be white. So the color should be what's that? So white like this. So and if I save it, you can see so it's not making sense. And let me return this thing back so that it can display the ones we want it to be. So now we have this. So you click on 1, it will take it to 1. We click on 5, it will remove it from 1 because it's re-rendering the stuff. So it knows that that one is not there again. It's now the 5 that is going to apply the stuff on like that. So let me remove this one because we don't need it again. The visual is already on the button. So any button that you click on, it will actually tell you that that's the active button. And if you reload, the first time it will not be on anything. Why do we have it on step 2 by default? So let me remove it. Here it should be on step 1 by default. And you see that none of them is active, and that is why I have to set it to 0 here. Because if the number you set here is matching any of the number on this thing, it will see it. For example, if I set it to 1 or if I set it to 2 by default, as you can see, it will pick it up because it's looking at this thing to compare. So once you see that the number match, it will pick the one that match, and that's why I'm doing 0 first, so that it will not match any items on the list. But if you now click on any one of them, it will replace this 0 with that number. So it will now be as if, okay, it's the 4 that is now active. So if I click on 2, it will go to 2. If I click on 1, it will show on 1, and so forth like that. So the last thing we just need to add is the button that triggered of opening of this other stage. So we need to change the stage. So we need to change the stage. Don't forget this one too is receiving the stage. So we need to come here, go back into this our rating number. No, it's not inside rating number. It should be inside here because this is where we are going to put the button. Again, I don't even need to create this one too as a component because it's not doing too much. So let me just put it here. So this button is going to be submit, and anytime you click on this button, so on click, what do you want to do? We want to change the stage. So we want to submit the form. So I want to call a function here. So and what is it going to do? So it's going to be const submit like this. So we want to call this submit function, and anytime this submit function is called, what do you want to do? We want to run this set stage. So what do we want to do? So set, we've done this thing before. So set stage, and what do we want to set it to? What is set it to step 2. So we just need to call this function, and what do we need to call? We need to call submit. So anytime you click on this button, we want it to call this function, and what is the function is going to do? It's going to set the stage to step 2 like that. But this is not submit, this is submit. So submit like this. So save, is that the text that is there? And as you can see, yes. So we just need to style it. So what do we need to do? Let me give it a class so that we can apply the styling on it like that. So the class name, so class name, what is going to be there? This is going to be styles, and what do we call it? Submit btn like this. But it's a button too. So copy it, save, and there's no way there's going to be a clash between this one and this one. We are using module CSS, so it's going to generate different, even if I'm using the same name there like that, it's going to generate separate name for them, but I don't want to do it like that, so I'll give them separate name like this. So here we have this one. So what is the styling for the button? So this is our button, and it's not this style by default. This is not the style that is there. It's when it is over that it is going to change to this color. So what is here by default is this one, which is so here border radius is going to be around that 2 rem because it is curve. Text align should be center. Text center. Text align. Ah, ah, center. Then what do we need? So text transform should be uppercase like this. Letter spacing, there is some spacing in between the letters. So let me just use 2 pixels as the spacing in between the letters. You can see the S, the U, there's some kind of a little space in between it like that. So we need to remove that border that is always on the button. So border should be none like this. What do we need? The background should be this orange like this. The color should be white. The var, where is the var? So saved. The cursor should be pointer, which is something that's supposed to do the generic setting itself. But this same, but I will just do it directly from here. So we need padding. The padding is missing. That's why the thing is looking tiny like that. So 1 rem, 2 rem like this, so that it can add some padding into the stuff. And I think this 1 rem is too much. Let me use 0.75. That's 12 pixels for top and bottom. But now we need to add our cursor. We need to add our overstates. So submit btn. Anytime it is over, we just need to reverse the background and color. So background and color will just be reversed. So what is background will be color, and what is color will be background. So color, and this one is going to be background like this. So save. But I don't want this into to be changing like that. So transition. So the color is going to take 0.5 seconds like that. Again, to the background is going to take the same thing like this. So why did I not close this one? So saved. You see that both the color here is only background where we did it for, but here we are doing it for both the color and the background there. So now let's click on this one and submit. You see that it changed, and can you see there 1 out of 5? So if I go back, if I click on 4 and click again, as you can see 4 out of 5. So if I go back, then pick 2, then it's going to be 2 out of 5. And as you can see, we're able to complete this application like this. So the next thing we need to do is to deploy it, because how do you deploy your React application there? So how do you deploy your React application? So what we need to do is to build. So what we need to do is to build, because what we are using is the development server. So it's just for you to quickly see what is going on. Once you make changes, it will do everything. So what do you need to do? You need to build the application. So how do you build the application? If you go under the package.json, you are going to see the script to build. So here now, we just need to use npm run build, because you've not really built the application, or you're only doing it in your development distance. So in order for you to have the copy that you're going to deploy, you need to build. And once you run it here, it's going to create a folder that include all the build version of your application there. So we just need to use npm run build. It will check through our application, it will build it, then you can now deploy it anywhere you want to deploy your application there like that. Can you see now that is now a folder known as dist. So inside this dist, it has already copied. Can you see? It's copied all the assets, it's copied this index.html, it's copied the logo. So everything that is inside this your public, can you see? It will just copy them directly. Now that's why you can go to URL to have access to it, but you can't just have access to anything that is coming from here like that. So can you see all our CSS? It has combined everything together. You know, we have different CSS files. We have this app.css, we have index.css, we have style.modules. But by the time it build everything, it will combine them together into one CSS file like that. And as you can see, you can't even see the stuff. It's just a one line. It will build in a way that it is perfectly for the computer that will be reading. No code. The browser knows how to read all this in, but you as human being, you can't just be reading line by line like that. So this one now will make the size to be smaller, so that when you are deploying a small version of your application there. So again, to the JavaScript that you need for your application, everything has been bundled together here. Can you see? But the computer is the one, like, it has already bundled everything together. That you don't need to worry yourself about what is going on. The React code and everything that you do, everything is here. But the browser understand it. The browser will understand what is going on here. Nothing concern you. When anytime you need to make changes, you go back to your code, you do the changes, and you build again, and you deploy this thing. So how do we deploy the stuff? There are different platforms that you can use to deploy your application there, and there's some setting you can do. For example, here we have this Netlify file. So we have Netlify file that you can use. Netlify file, Netlify file like this. So this is a platform that you can use to deploy your application. So you can use it to deploy Vite application. You can use it to deploy any other application that they support there like that. So if you go to their this thing, they will tell you what are the platform they are supporting there, and from there you just log in. Once you log in, you start deploying whatever stuff you want to deploy. So these are the things that they do. They help you to deploy your web apps, which is what we just did right now. So we just build. So what you don't need to do is to sign in. But if you don't have an account, you need to sign up. But I already have an account there, like that. So you can use this platform to deploy your application. So another platform that you can use is this one here, which is Cloudflare. So we have this Cloudflare like this, and if I press enter, so this Cloudflare can be used to deploy your application. So this one is even cheap. It's cheap to do because you can just upload your asset file. And what is asset file? This is what is inside this disk. Don't forget the index is there. It will copy it, and as you can see, it's already linked to the JavaScript file. So it will download the JavaScript, and once it's done downloading JavaScript, it will run everything there like that. So what do we need to do? We just need to go into sign up or log in here too. But I have an account here, so I can just log in. And once I log in, it will take me to the dashboard. Then from there, there is somewhere you need to go in order for you to be able to create application there. So let's wait for it. I hope this thing will go with this network like this. For you to have problem with this Mayoest network, I hope it will go. Let me wait for it. All right, since the network is done loading, so I will have to do another video for deployment by using my other network, because now this network is not working with all this service. Suppose I have like what is here to just load and it's not going. The same thing with this one too. There is no problem with it. If I use other network now, it will work. But now it doesn't work with Mayoest this network stuff. So I will just stop here. Like that. So in the next class, we are going to look into some other React functionality that you need to know about to build other types of application. Because right now, this one, what we are doing now, we are not working on different page. We only have one page. But why are you going to deal with multiple pages? That was what we'll be talking about in the next class. Because you won't be working with a single page. Where you are building some application that needs to move from one page to another one. So you are going to see how to handle routing. So we call it routing here, like that. So that will be all.